Peace, love, and enlightenment to everyone watching this video. I just needed to make a public apology to all Black women because I was invited to have a conversation on a panel, um, and I was not properly prepared. Um, I was under the impression that we were going to be talking about one thing, and when I got on there, they played a little snippet of um, the Red Table Talk, the Invisible Black Women Epidemic episode of the Red Table Talk, and I had not watched it um, prior to the conversation. Um, so I wasn't able to really, speak on anything that was presented in that episode. Um, and the episode was being attacked on the panel, and I was not able to properly represent y'all. Now, I know most of you probably haven't even seen what I'm talking about, this particular panel that I was speaking on, or the people that I was speaking with. You may not have even seen it. Um, but nevertheless, I do need to make a public apology because I've now watched the full episode that was on the Red Table Talk, and I wish I had watched it beforehand because that was a beautiful episode. And I want to thank Jada Pinkett Smith. I want to thank her mom. I want to thank Willow. I want to thank Tamika Mallory. And I want to thank all the other people that were able to come on that show and to be vulnerable and to share their stories. Thank you. Thank you very much for that episode on the Red Table Talk. Thank you so much because it was a great expression of things that we as Black women have to deal with in this country. Um, it was a beautiful episode. And I wish I had watched it beforehand so that, there was things being said, things thrown around, like, as if, as if certain things weren't covered in that episode, because they were. I only seen, what they showed before we discussed it, which was the first 10 minutes, which is a 30-minute show. And the first 10 minutes, pretty much, wasn't a pleasant first 10 minutes. Even though Tamika Mallory was there, but she was there the entire show and had much more to give throughout the show. And, Jada Pinkett was attacked, during this discussion. Tamika Mallory was attacked during this discussion. And both of those women have, they've been on the front lines. So, I don't take that lightly with them being attacked and me not being prepared for it, so that I could have a defense for them, because I have a great respect for them, irregardless of, what anybody else may feel like people should be doing. Anytime we're looking at people who have signed certain contracts, who have certain oaths, you can't have the same expectations from somebody who's a celebrity. They don't have the same freedoms that I do to speak and say any and everything that I want to say. They still have families to provide for as well, so they don't have the same freedoms when you're talking about somebody who's a doctor or a midwife, even in caring for a mother. They don't have the same freedoms. They don't have the same liberties because they've in getting that status, they've had to make some compromises. Okay? And that's understood. That's understandable. They've had to make those compromises. And everybody's fight is different. I'm not expecting somebody who is, a doctor, OBGYN, to be fighting the same way that I'm going to fight, which is advocating for free birth. Advocating for women to take back control, take back their power of their own bodies, and their sacred space, and empowering them to give birth at on their own terms. Um, and that's because they don't have the liberty of doing that. That's going to go against their livelihood. You shouldn't even expect that. So I wish I had watched that episode. It's a beautiful episode. If you have not watched it, watch it and watch the whole thing. Okay. We're too quick, and I think even in the fact that we didn't watch the whole thing is a testament to a level of disrespect for Black women. There's a level of disrespect that is just diabolical. That was completely disrespectful. And I'm gonna say maybe give the brother some benefit of the doubt. That maybe it wasn't done on purpose. Maybe it was done out of ignorance, or who knows, or being misguided. But we're playing chess. This is not a game of checkers that we're playing right now. Black lives are hanging in the balance. We're playing chess. This is not checkers. It's not black and white. It's not, it's not that simple. You can't just jump over somebody. You got to know how the pieces work on the game board. Okay. And all the pieces don't work the same. Okay. So you don't expect the knight to move like a bishop. You don't expect, you don't expect the pawns to be able to move like the queen. Okay, so we all got to move different in this chess game that we're playing to preserve Black life and to establish liberty and freedoms for ourselves, because we're still operating on a plantation. We're still operating in a danger zone here in this country as Black Americans. So we don't have time to be playing games like that, and definitely shouldn't be attacking people who are on the front lines in their own capacity. They may not be able to move like others of us are able to move, but we're not going to judge each other based on how we're deciding to move or what compromises you decide to make, what sacrifices you decide to make so that you can make a difference in this area or a difference in that area. There was some words thrown around like they were panhandling, to white folks, and if you only watch the first 10 minutes of it, you think, okay, yeah, you can't, there's nothing you can argue there, because of course, the woman that they put on there that talked about her birth experience, condolences to her. I don't want to be insensitive to the fact that she lost a child. That's tragic. Absolutely, that's tragic. But, that of course, she should not have even had the mindset, which a lot of us have. So it needs to be addressed. It needs to be publicized. And, because a lot of us have this mindset that white is right, that their ice is colder. And we're some of us still haven't recognized the game, haven't recognized you're at war, haven't recognized we're playing chess with these people and they're trying to take you out. They're trying to take you out of the game. You don't understand that. A lot of people still don't understand that. And since they still don't understand that, well, you have to shine light on it so there could be some discussion about it. Because nobody should say to themselves, in order for me to get the best care, I'm going to go over here to these white folks. That is crazy. You are insane. You are insane. And you need to address that sickness. The sickness that is in you. You have to address it because that sickness has been put there. It has been put there. And all of this kind of was sparked by a blog post that I made, where I was talking about motherhood. And I mentioned my mother and how my mother didn't mother me, And I'm not going to come out here and start bashing my mother because, I have some trauma that I have to heal from, even though she may even deserve that. But if I'm going to give that to her, I'm going to give that to her directly. I'm not going to give that to the world. For what? That doesn't benefit anybody for me to go on live or go public and talk bad about my mother. For what? For what? Doesn't help anybody. What we have to focus on is the why. Why? Because my mother was sick, and that sickness was put in her. And that sickness is being transferred down through the generations because it's that trauma is coded in us. It's coded in us. And we are keep giving it on and passing it on to our children until somebody stops and says, I'm sick. I'm sick. And I'm in love with these people who hate me. I cherish these people who hate me. I want to believe that, they're still good. And this is abusive. This is abusive and toxic relationship that many of us have with so-called white America, European Americans. It's sick. It is sick. It is toxic. And we have to address it so that we can heal ourselves. And we don't need to be attacking each other because guess what? Why would I attack you? I understand that you're sick. I understand that you're sick. I'm not upset when black women mistreat me, when, I have a sister. My sister is dark skinned. She has a beautiful, beautiful chocolate complexion. And she still struggles with that. And I'm not going to tell her story because she's not here to defend herself and to give her side of the story. But my sister has always had an issue really with us really being able to have a relationship. We've never really been able to have a strong relationship because of colorism and things that have been put on her that has to be addressed. I don't never judge a woman because she's struggling with the fact that she's dark skinned, and she's got anger towards me. Because that's not her. That's not hers. Why would I be angry with her and attack her and fight with her? Why would I do that? That ain't going to help her. She's sick. She's sick. Absolutely. It's spiritual warfare, Ebony. Thank you for pointing that out. Absolutely. Absolutely. You have to know who the people of God are. Absolutely. You have to know who the people of God are. And speaking of that, I want to just go into, me and my husband's anniversary was yesterday. And it was just the whole thing. It was just so heavy the whole day. And it was a red moon. It happened to be a red moon on our anniversary. And we don't always have the best of relationship. And I don't mind saying that because people have this illusion in their minds that a relationship is supposed to be, we're always, I always love everything about you all the time. And that's crazy, y'all. Okay. And that's why your relationships don't last. Because as soon as something goes wrong, you're running from it because you think, oh, this is not right. This is not working. You have to make it work. You have to work on it. You have to learn each other and really love each other. Because if you're just running off, you never loved that person in the first place. Because that's what love is. Helping them to grow and you growing. You helping each other to grow. And I'm not talking about staying in a bad place with somebody. But if that person is willing to grow and learn and work with you, why wouldn't you stay and learn and grow and work with them? And work with each other and build with each other. And we as the people have to do that with each other. You can't point your fingers. You can't just point your fingers. If you're going to point your finger, you're going to have to provide a solution. You're going to have to provide some healing. And that's what I appreciate about that show that they did on the Red Table Talk is that they did provide solutions. They did discuss solutions for those who are still functioning in a certain frame of mind because they need solutions too. Yes, I'm all about stay out of the hospitals, stay out of the public schools. And I do have the liberty to say that. And I'm going to make sure that I remain in a place where I have the liberty to say that. But everybody's not in a place where they have the liberty to just say that. You have to come to that on your own terms. And for people who haven't come to that realization that, hey, white people just don't like me, they hate me, and anytime I'm in a vicinity where there's just them, I'm in danger. Historically, it should be there. We should get it, but we're sick. We don't get it. We don't get it. All of us don't get it yet. And those people who don't get it still need tools to protect themselves because their lives still matter too. So, even when you're saying Black Lives Matter, you say Black women matter. It can't just be the people who know and just the people who understand and just the people who are going to walk on this line. No, they all matter. So even the child who's abused in a public school, even though I say, hey, don't you send your children to public school. If a child goes there and the child gets hurt, we should all rise up and defend that child. It doesn't matter because their life still matters. It doesn't matter that they missed the mark. They made a mistake, because they were sick. Come on. Whose side are you on? We have to understand who our enemy is. We have to understand who our enemy is. If you offend even the least of my people, you should be thrown into the sea, with some stones as heavy as can be tied around your neck. You understand me? Now I had to get that out because I needed to apologize to my peoples because I didn't watch that. I didn't watch that episode. I hadn't watched it. I should have watched it as soon as it came out. You understand? I apologize because that was an important episode for us. Important episode for us. By important people. Now, I was talking about the red moon because we need to discuss that. The red moon just occurred, and I don't want to skip over that. And it occurred on my anniversary, which is, more confirmation, even though, and we happened to have some troubles that morning. Because obviously, if you read my blog post, you know that there's things I'm healing from. And of course, my husband has things that he's healing from. So the thing about special occasions like birthdays, anniversaries, things like that, those days, holidays, things like that, those days are openings for things to come up. Things are going to come up. Things are going to come up, things that are hidden under the surface, things that are being repressed. Those things are going to come up and you're going to have to deal with them. What's important is, can you deal with them? How you deal with them? Can you get through it? And will you get through it together? We can't be like every time something gets hard or every time something's difficult that we're not going to do it. Because that's a slave mind. And that's going to keep us enslaved to our enemy. The moment we be like, okay, well, hey, we don't have clean water. Okay, let's say something simple. Flint, Michigan. Well, it's not simple, but we don't have clean water. It's Flint, Michigan. Go catch the rain. Okay, yes, it's difficult. It's gonna be a challenge. Catch the rain. Okay, they want to make it so the predominantly Black places don't have fresh produce. They done bought all the farms out, the small farms out. You don't have fresh produce. You better get your butt out there in the yard, okay? Get your butt out there in the yard and grow your garden. This is what we're talking about. It's going to take work for us to build something of our own. It's going to take work for us to have something on our own. You can't stand there with your hand out and expect your enemy is going to just give you something. That your enemy is going to make it easy for you to thrive, to have a healthy home life, to have a healthy marriage. They're even in our homes. Do you understand? because they're in our minds, for one thing. This is important. This is so important because there's so much that so many of us don't understand about the trauma. You don't even understand my God, the buildup of trauma that we're under. You're under. If you are a person of color watching this video and you saying to me, well, I'm okay. If you think that you are okay right now, you're missing it for whatever reason. You know, when I grew up, you know, I repressed a lot of things. There was a lot of things I just didn't even remember it happened to me. And me and my husband had a conversation yesterday on our anniversary, you know, about, you know, sometimes I feel like maybe it's better not to know. Maybe it's better not to remember, you know, and a lot of us are in that state. We'd rather forget. We'd rather pretend like these things didn't happen and these things aren't continuously happening to us. We'd rather forget. We'd rather pretend that everything's okay because it's easier. It's easier to deal with. But guess what? Freedom don't come like that. Freedom don't come like that. And we just had this red moon, okay? Now, for those who don't understand what the red moon is, it's very simple. The book of Joel says the sun will turn into darkness and the moon into blood before the great and terrible day of the Lord comes. The great and terrible day of the Lord. Who is it great for? It's great for the righteous. Terrible for these demons and these devils who are terrorizing the earth and been allowed to do it. Their time is up. That's what that means. Their time is up. Their time is up. Now is the time for cleansing. You know, if you haven't been fasting, now is the time to fast. You know, and fasting don't mean you have to completely not eat. Start from where you are. If you know you need to eliminate dairy, if you know you need to eliminate meat, you need to drink more water, eat more foods that God gave you. Yeah, it gets that deep. God gave us food. And we eating what these devils gave us. God gave you food. God, child. God gave you food to eat. I want you to put on some critical thinking skills, okay? And I want you to think about what food has God given you. I bet you right now, everyone probably watching this video can walk outside. I guarantee you it's something out there that you can put in your mouth. And you don't even know what it is. You probably think it's a weed or something. Or you ain't even paying enough attention that, hey, this is a walnut tree right here. I can eat these walnuts. God provides. You don't even know. God provides. And here you are slaving for these people, thinking that you need them for your survival. And you don't. God provides. All things, in all ways. Yes, sister, that's unfortunate. It's unfortunate. A lot of us can't be trusted, especially if the white man is here. Then it's like the Matrix. You know how you watch the Matrix and they go back into the Matrix to try to save people? That's kind of like what we have to do. You have to go back into the Matrix and save people. And you don't know which one of them folks is going to turn on you and turn into an agent. You don't know. You got to be ready. You know, you got to be ready. You got to be watchful because you don't know. Because we're still sick. And until they've been disconnected, deprogrammed, and seeing things for what they are, they're going to always be a possible casualty or a possible enemy. It's going to always be possible, unfortunately so. It's unfortunate that those we love, you know, We can't fully be open and embrace it. We are in war. This is war. We are in constant war. We don't have no peace right now. If you feel like you are at peace, of course you can have eternal peace. Peace that comes from God. Peace knowing that we win. But externally, there's no peace. You shouldn't even be seeking peace in that regard. The only way to have peace in this country and you being a child of God is to be walking with God. Because if you're a child of God and you ain't walking with God, you ain't going to have no peace. Because you living in your enemy's territory. Shoot, I'm trying to get to Ethiopia, to the, you know what I'm saying? Back to Eden. I'm trying to get back to Eden. Let the kingdom of God come on the earth. Let the kingdom of God come on this earth, all over this planet. We got to get rid of every demon and devil. Cast them all back to hell where they belong. Into darkness. And not the great kind of darkness. I ain't talking about the great kind of darkness. I'm talking about the non-existence, because they're not eternal. God is eternal, and only those that have God in them are eternal, so to speak. Okay, anyway. We come from God. We need to return to God. And live as gods on this earth. Many gods. God's representatives. A sprinkling of God. That's what we're supposed to be. A sprinkling. Anyway, I got a little bit off track. You know, you have to watch out for these, fake imposter revolutionaries. You have a lot of people out here pretending to be revolutionaries, and all they do is perpetuate, just like white people do, when they try to gentrify and all these other things. Dress like us, act like us, talk like us, create similar organizations, and you got to watch out for these folks out here, because they'll get you. If you're not tapped in, this is not the time. This is not the time to be talking about you atheists. This ain't the time for that, black people. That ain't you. That ain't you. Shoot, ain't no atheists over in the motherland. Ain't no atheists over there. You talking crazy. Nobody other than those who have been colonized think like that, or even have the inkling to think like that. Because God is in you. That's like saying to yourself that you don't exist. It don't make sense. Because if God is in you, you know it. You know what I'm saying? If God is in you, you know it. Ain't no way for you not to know. You can deny it. You can repress it. You can try to ignore it. But you feel something in you right now. Whether it's fear or whatever the response is from listening to truth. This is not the time for all that nonsense right now. These are the end times. And I know you probably heard that a million times, people saying that, but this is the real end times now. The real end times. We in this. We in this. You want to know who I am? Read Revelation chapter 12. That's me, baby. That's me. I'm put here. And I ain't going nowhere. I want to thank all the doctors, midwives, doulas that are real out here and not about this capitalistic trying to be like the colonizer, trying to be like the devil, you know, evil is as evil does. I mean, you can feel any kind of way you want about the truth, but one thing you can't do is disprove it. So, shout out to all the real ones out here. I know it's a lot of people that ain't, that's still perpetuating the nonsense. But those of y'all who are real, I love y'all, and I do apologize that if you did see that nonsense, you know, I don't want to. Maybe it was done out of ignorance, okay? But I am upset about it because I should have been properly prepared so that I could defend my sisters. And I was not properly prepared, so I was not able to defend my sisters like I should have been able to defend my sisters. So I'm apologizing to my sisters for that. And this is an eternal moment. This is an eternal moment. This has happened before, so to speak. This is a moment in which time once existed, no longer exists, but still exists. You understand what I'm talking about? I made a video about the walking meditation. The walking meditation. All right. I don't get too deep on here right now for y'all. Peace on the inside. Peace. 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 That way when you pull your sword out, may the Spirit of God take over. You move as the speed of light. Y'all don't even know that we have that power as people of God. Don't be afraid of your enemy. Don't be afraid of your enemy. All power to the people.